Once upon a time, in the majestic kingdom of Ujjain, there lived a wise and noble ruler named King Vikramaditya. He was known across the land for his justice, bravery, and immense generosity. One day, as he sat in his royal court, a mysterious man arrived with a wooden horse. The man spoke to the king, saying, "Your Majesty, this horse neither eats nor drinks, and it can take you wherever you wish to go." Intrigued by the man's words, King Vikramaditya's curiosity piqued. He could tell something was unusual about this situation. Without hesitation, the king ordered his treasurer to give the man a gift of 1,00,000 gold coins, as a token of gratitude for showing such a unique item. The man accepted the gift and left, but not before warning the king, never strike this wooden horse with a whip. However, as time passed, King Vikramaditya forgot the warning. One day, while inspecting the wooden horse, he struck it with a whip. To his shock, the horse suddenly lifted off the ground and flew high into the sky, taking him far away from his kingdom. The magical horse carried the king across the seas and dropped him in a dark and mysterious jungle. The king, shaken but composed, tried to make his way out. He wandered for 15 days, lost in the dense forest, until he stumbled upon a strange cave. Outside the cave, there was a tree, and near it, 2 wells. A monkey sat atop the tree, jumping up and down, watching the king's every move. King Vikramaditya, sensing something strange, hid nearby and watched closely. At noon, a sorcerer emerged from the cave, drew water from one of the wells, and sprinkled it on the monkey. To the king's astonishment, the monkey transformed into a beautiful woman. The sorcerer spent some time with her, then drew more water from the second well and sprinkled it on her. Instantly, the woman turned back into the monkey and climbed the tree. King Vikramaditya was taken aback. He approached the well, took some water, and sprinkled it on the monkey. To his amazement, the monkey turned into the beautiful woman again. The woman, startled, said, "Do not look at me like that, king. I am a tapasvini, ascetic, and if you gaze at me with such intent, I will curse you, and you will be reduced to ashes." The king, undeterred, introduced himself as King Vikramaditya, claiming that no harm could befall him. Upon hearing his name, the woman fell at his feet and pleaded, "Great king, please leave this place. If the sorcerer finds you here, he will curse us both and turn us to ashes." The king, curious, asked, "Who are you, and how did you come to be in this condition?" The woman explained, "My father is Kamadeva, the god of love, and my mother is Pushpavati, the goddess of flowers. When I was 12, my family ordered me to perform a task, but I refused. In anger, they handed me over to this sorcerer, who turned me into a monkey and kept me in this jungle. King Vikramaditya promised to take her with him and protect her." Just then, the sorcerer arrived and, seeing the woman with the king, became enraged. The sorcerer, unaware of the king's power, called upon a fearsome army of man-eating beasts to attack. But King Vikramaditya, without hesitation, charged into battle, defeating the beasts one by one with his unmatched strength and skill. The sorcerer, realizing that King Vikramaditya was no ordinary man, tried to escape. However, the king was not far behind. The sorcerer vanished and reappeared, laughing menacingly. Realizing that the sorcerer was magical, King Vikramaditya invoked the spirit of Betal, a powerful supernatural being. Betal, upon hearing the king's plea, agreed to help. With Betal's powers, the sorcerer was finally overpowered and fell at the feet of King Vikramaditya, begging for mercy. The king ordered that the sorcerer be banished to the underworld, and he returned to his kingdom with the woman. As night fell, King Vikramaditya heard a woman's screams in the distance. Without hesitation, he mounted his horse and rode in the direction of the cries. He found a terrified woman running for her life, pursued by a gigantic demon. The woman, seeing the king, fell at his feet and begged for protection. King Vikramaditya, knowing his strength, assured her, "Do not fear. No harm will come to you as long as I am here." The demon, hearing the king's words, laughed and taunted, "Foolish king! If you wish to save her, you must leave at once." The king, undeterred by the demon's threats, engaged in a fierce battle. With one swift stroke of his sword, he decapitated the demon. However, the head quickly reattached itself to the body, and the demon came back to life. Unfazed, the king grabbed the demon's head and dragged it along the ground for an entire hour. Eventually, the demon, weakened and in pain, fled, knowing it could not defeat the king. The woman, grateful for her life, explained, I am the daughter of a Brahmin from the island of Single. One day, while bathing with my friends, this demon saw me and became infatuated. He took me away, demanding that I marry him. If you had not intervened, he would have forced me to do so." The king asked, "Why is the demon so powerful?" The woman explained, "The demon has an enchantress living inside him. Whenever he dies, she puts a drop of elixir in his mouth, bringing him back to life." King Vikramaditya vowed to rid the world of this demon. He set out to find the demon and, after a long search, finally confronted him. This time, the demon tried to flee but was no match for the king's prowess. With Betal's help, King Vikramaditya destroyed the enchantress and ended the demon's reign of terror. Meanwhile, back in his kingdom, King Vikramaditya organized a grand feast to honor his generosity. The feast attracted numerous scholars, merchants, and courtiers, and during the event, a conversation arose about who was the greatest philanthropist in the world. Everyone unanimously agreed that King Vikramaditya was the greatest. However, one Brahmin remained silent, and his expression suggested he disagreed. The king noticed this and asked him about his opinion. The Brahmin hesitantly spoke, saying, "It is true that you are a great philanthropist, but you are not the greatest. There is a king named Adhirath in the far-off land of Takshashila who donates 1,00,000 gold coins every day before he eats or drinks." The king, intrigued, decided to investigate. With the help of Betal, he traveled to Takshashila and disguised himself as an ordinary man. He soon learned that King Adhirath indeed donated 1,00,000 gold coins every day. The king was surprised to learn that Adhirath performed a strange ritual in which he jumped into a boiling pot of oil, where witches would consume his charred body. Afterward, a goddess would appear, resurrecting him and filling his pouch with 1,00,000 gold coins. Vikramaditya, wanting to understand this mystery, followed the same steps as Adhirath. He jumped into the pot, and as he was consumed by witches, the goddess appeared, revived him, and granted him the same magical pouch. However, the moment he was granted the pouch, everything vanished, leaving him on a desolate shore. Realizing that the magical pouch was the key, Vikramaditya took it back to King Adhirath. Upon receiving it, King Adhirath was overjoyed and praised the king. He admitted that Vikramaditya was the greatest philanthropist in the world, even surpassing him. The two kings became close allies, and after spending some time in Takshashila, King Vikramaditya returned to Ujjain, where he continued his reign with justice and kindness. One day, while traveling through his kingdom, King Vikramaditya encountered a deadly lion terrorizing his people. Without hesitation, he rode out to confront the beast. After a fierce struggle, the king managed to kill the lion, but his horse was injured in the fight and later died from its wounds. As the king sat beside the river mourning his horse, he saw a strange sight, a corpse floating in the water, which was being fought over by a sorcerer and Betal. The sorcerer claimed the body for his ritual, while Betal wanted it to satisfy his hunger. Both turned to Vikramaditya for judgment. The king, wise as ever, demanded payment before making his decision. The sorcerer gave him a magical purse, while Betal offered a piece of enchanted wood that could make one invisible. Vikramaditya, having no use for such things, gave the sorcerer the corpse for his rituals and the body to Betal for food. The two left, content. Later that night, as Vikramaditya sat alone, hunger struck, and he used the magical purse to summon food. As he feasted, he rubbed the enchanted wood and disappeared, avoiding danger. The next day, while traveling home, the king encountered a beggar, hungry and desperate. Without a second thought, he offered the magical purse to the beggar, who, stunned by the generosity, bowed down before the king. Thus, the greatest ruler King Vikramaditya continued to rule with justice, never losing his compassion, and became a legend throughout history.